Have you ever wondered what Marine Reservists do outside of the Marine Corps? Well, today I'll be talking with NCOs, a staff NCO, and even a Marine officer who are all reservists. And I'll be asking them questions like what they do for a living, how they balance their life as a Marine and a civilian at the same time, and advice for future Marine Reservists. If you're gonna join the Marine Reserves, this is gonna be a really valuable video for you guys. So with all that being said, let's go talk to these Marines. So as a reservist, what do you do outside of the Marine Corps to make money?
When I first joined into the unit, I actually was working at a detox facility.
And what did you do?
I was basically monitoring clients that were detoxing from alcohol, drugs, whatever not. After that, once I moved out of California, I actually went to Arizona, moved to Arizona by myself, and I started construction. I was doing mechanical installation. And then I eventually wanted something better and that pays a little bit more. So I actually went into aviation. And then unfortunately, work was slow. And so I ended up losing my job. And during that time, I was working, doing detailing on the side. And eventually when I lost my job, I kind of just ended it and started doing detailing. And that's what my main job is now.
How much were you making from all of these jobs? Can you list them out?
For construction, when I first started, I was making $15 an hour. I was making roughly around like 23 with bonuses and everything. So I was making roughly around like $700, $800 a week. And then with aviation, so every week I was roughly making like $1,400 to $1,500 a week.
And why'd you join the Marine Corps?
I joined the Marine Corps for a challenge. It's something that I wanted to do, especially when I was younger as well. I've been told that it was the hardest branch, and I believe it now, just because it's not more physical, but it's more mental as well.
How many hours do you work per day at your civilian job compared to the Marine Corps?
Honestly, I feel like I'm working the same amount of hours. The only reason why is just because when you're a business owner, you're answering calls 24/7.
How much do you get paid at this job compared to the Marine Corps?
A lot more. It depends on the seasons and how months go. I could make roughly around 8K. My best week was roughly around like 12K a month.
Do you regret joining?
No. If I was to go back in time, I'll do it again.
Do you think being a Marine helps you out with anything in the civilian world, like getting a job or just what you're doing right now?
In the civilian world, they want more like paper, like certifications. But I would say mindset-wise, yes, most definitely. I think if I didn't join the Marine Corps when I got out of high school, I don't know where I would be.
What's your biggest regret in the military?
Not going active. The only reason why is just when you join the Marine Corps when you're young is the prime time of being able to kind of figure out what you want to do in life.
Who should join the reserves and who should join active duty?
If you have everything kind of figured out and have a plan, join the reserves, but make sure you actually set in stone on that plan. A lot of people join the reserves thinking they're going to go to college and, pursue a certain career, and some do and then some don't. Active, I suggest someone that is still kind of trying to figure out what they want to do in life or still see what kind of career they want to do.
So how do you balance your civilian life while also being in the reserves?
Honestly, just kind of having a good time management. That's one big thing, just because in essence, like I run a business and we're gone for the week. So I have to, of course, be an adult and plan ahead and, schedule something with all my clients and still come to the Marine Corps and still do my job.
What's the most difficult thing about being in the reserves?
One is the physical fitness. In active duty, you're kind of already surrounded by people that are actively always working out and around that culture. But when you're back home, you're around your old buddies and bad habits and stuff like that. So you could always lose track of that.
For all the future Marines out there who are going to be reservists, what piece of advice do you have for them?
Have a plan. That's like the main thing that I always try to get on people.
Would you want your kids to join the Marines?
I wouldn't mind. I definitely want them to have a plan.
Anything else you want to say to any Marines out there?
Send it. So that's all I got to say. If you have something in mind that you want to do, business-wise, career-wise, whatnot, sometimes you have that little devil on the side of your shoulder telling you to stop, just send it.
And what's your detailing business called?
It's called Honor Detail. It's located in Phoenix, Arizona. Let me know if you need detail.
What's your rank, name, and what do you do outside of the Marine Corps?
My name is Cpl Martinez, and I have a window cleaning business outside the Marine Corps.
Why'd you join the Marine Corps?
I joined the Marine Corps to get free college, and I was going to school at the time.
How much do you make with your window cleaning business?
4 to 5K.
Do you regret joining?
Sometimes I do, but at the end of the day, I met a lot of cool people here, and I had a lot of good experiences. A lot of them sucked, but when I look back at them, they were actually pretty fun.
So if you were to go back, would you have rather gone active or would you choose choose reserve over again?
I for sure would have gone active just because I know I would have been able to save more money and I wouldn't have to have balance the civilian life and also the Marine Corps.
So who should join the reserves and who should go active duty?
So someone who definitely has a good career and knows what they want to do with that career should probably go reserves. Someone who probably just needs more stability and structure and doesn't know what they want to do can definitely go active duty. So they'll come in, they'll have a full-time job.
Do you feel like being a Marine gives you any type of advantage out there in the civilian world?
To be honest, not really. I think the only advantage you get is you can handle sucky situations a lot better, but I personally don't really see.
That's a huge advantage.
I think that is a huge advantage. Yeah, I think that's like one of the main advantages you get. Other than that, it depends on what job you have in the Marine Corps. That can give you an advantage somewhere else, but for the most part, I think that's the main thing you get.
Are you married?
I am married, yes.
How long have you been married?
1 year.
Do you have any advice for new Marines who are getting married?
Say if you're planning to have a kid, I would say just get married first. And I would also say maybe get married before you move in with someone.
Before?
Before, yeah.
Why before?
Say if you live with someone and you end up wanting to break up, you're already like sharing expenses and stuff like that, and you're sharing a lease or you're sharing rent. It's better to be married because you have more of a commitment in that situation. So I would just recommend getting married because living together or buying a house or having a kid together is a big commitment. So I think it's a lot bigger than getting married. So I think you should get married before you do all those things.
Are you going to re-enlist?
If they give me a little bonus, probably. If not, definitely not re-enlisting.
Would you want your kids to join the Marines?
I would let my kid join the Marine Corps or at least one enlistment.
What would you change about the Marine Corps Reserve?
Going home early if there's nothing to do. That's the only thing I'd change. And a little more structure in planning.
What's your favorite MRE?
I like the pizza MRE, just the main meal, but I don't like the snacks in there. But I would definitely put pizza number one.
And what's the worst MRE in the military?
Fettuccine Alfredo. It's disgusting.
Even the snacks?
Snacks aren't that bad, but after I eat the fettuccine Alfredo, I have the taste in my mouth and my stomach for like 1 week.
I'm sure there's somebody out there who loves it. What's your business called?
My business name is Seaside Property Masters. We are a window cleaning business located in Ventura County. So if you want to clean windows or sell window cleaning jobs, you can contact me. Or if you want your windows cleaned, you can also contact me.
What is your rank, name, and what do you do outside of the Marine Corps?
Hi, my name is Gunnery Sergeant Lokers, and I've been in the Marine Corps for 21 years, and outside of the Marine Corps, I am a safety manager.
Have you always been in the reserves, Gunny?
I've always been in the reserves, all 21 years. I've done some active duty, however, that was under the guise of being a reservist.
Have you ever deployed, Gunny?
Yes, I've deployed twice. My first deployment was in 2006 to the grand old place of Djibouti, Africa, and then my second tour was in 2009, 2010, and that was to Afghanistan.
What was the craziest thing that happened during those deployments?
I'd say the craziest thing was losing a sergeant major on a deployment. I think it's probably one of the first sergeant majors in the entire Marine Corps that was killed in the line of duty in a foreign country.
And do you have any advice for any reservists that are about to deploy?
If you're about to deploy and you're a reservist, I think the biggest thing is get your family ready, all right? Get your finances in order. Make sure you have a power of attorney. Make sure that whoever your next of kin knows where they can access your finances. Have somebody actually make financial decisions for you while you're gone.
What would you say is the hardest part about being a Marine reservist?
Trying to balance your civilian life with your military life, because military life never stops and neither does civilian life.
What would you do differently if you were to start over in the military, Gunny?
I think I would start over by quitting alcohol. Alcohol is the #1 stealer of lives. It's the #1 stealer of opportunity. It's the #1 stealer of everything in anyone's life.
So for any military members out there that might be struggling with alcohol, what advice would you give to them?
You have to choose. You're gonna hear it from your family, you're gonna hear it from your friends, you're gonna hear it from your coworkers, but the only person that's gonna make that decision is you.
What events led you to really focus on, quitting alcohol?
Possibly losing custody of my children, seeing my kids, losing a job, losing my credibility. All those things. I asked myself, is it worth it? Was drinking really worth all of that? And when you look at it and you say no, then you can tell yourself no, then you know what the problem is. And ultimately the problem is you, and you got to fix you. So many people have lost their lives to drinking and driving, and I did not want to be a contributor to that.
And with all of these civilian jobs that you've had outside of the Marine Corps, how do you balance that while being a reservist?
Really, you have to set your schedule up, right? So what the reserves does is they give you an annual schedule, right? They give you all the drills, periods, and annual training for that time period. So what you got to do to really plan it out is you give that letter or those dates to your employer, and they know they have those dates on file. And then you always just kind of give little updates, and that's kind of how you balance the schedule, I'd say.
A little bit of a fun question. What's your favorite MRE?
My favorite MRE is spaghetti. It's the beef ravioli. It's all the spaghetti ones. So if it's got like a marinara sauce in it and some sort of noodle, that's my favorite.
And what is the worst MRE in the military?
Potatoes au gratin. It's gross. Or the omelet. Oh, I can't do the omelet.
Do you regret joining the military?
Not at all. There's so many benefits to being a military member, both on and off duty, and even once you retire. Like, the benefits are huge. You have to use them.
For anybody looking to join any military branch, who should join the reserves and who should join active?
If you are a career-minded person, join the reserves. If you're an active person, if you like fishing, you like doing all the outdoor stuff, go active duty.
So, okay, Gunny, you were a cop for 15 years. And what was that whole process like for any new Marines or new military members that are in the reserves and they want to go down that path, whether it be CHP or corrections officer or sheriff?
I got one statement. Get your stuff together here and at home and make sure that you're prepared financially to take care of a family at some point, right? You know, if you're gonna do it young, but I would say hold off on getting married, hold off on having kids in the very beginning, or wait, get that done, and then join.
What did you learn in the Marine Corps, Gunny, that you have used in the civilian world that a lot of people don't think about?
There's leadership skills that translate into years of experience, right? You could be in the Marine Corps for 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 20 years, and all that leadership experience, every time you're putting your boots on, your military uniform on, you're stepping into a leadership position. You're leading Marines, which translates out on the civilian side is you're leading people, you're directing people, and we forget that we've done that for so many years and we don't know what we're gonna do, but you bring so many skills to the table. Like, you don't need a 4-year degree. You have all the experience. A lot of times people are so stuck on having a degree or they can't get a job because they don't have a degree. 9 times out of 10, those posts on LinkedIn, those posts on Indeed, whatever it is that you see all for that say requires a 4-year degree, it's not true, okay? Experience matters. So what you do here translates out in the real world. You just have to learn how to translate that into civilian terms, so to say, right? Instead of saying, I do operational risk management, say, you know, I did a job hazard analysis. They're one and the same, but if you said operation risk management out in the civilian world, they'd be like, what is that? I've never heard of that before.
If you could change one thing about the Marine Corps, what would it be?
The financial responsibility of military members. When you're 17, 18-year-old and you're coming into the Marine Corps, you go to a unit, you're given room, board, and you're fed 3 square meals a day. You go to work every day and you get a paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. Well, no one teaches you what to do with your paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. You have a place to live, you're not paying rent. I think that what I would change is that whatever it's costing the military to house military members, I would say turn that cost into pay. Give the military member that pay, now make them physically rent something. So build enough housing and charge the military member the cost to rent a place. Let's just say a fake number, 1,000. Let's say we give military members $1,000 a month, and you can put that towards rent, or you could save it, or whatever the case may be. But giving them a choice. Here, you can stay in this room. This room's $500 a month. This room is $700 a month. This room's $1,000 a month. This house or apartment is $2,000 a month. This house is $3,000 a month. It just allows that military member to make a financial commitment, teach them how to budget their money, that rent is due, that you will be held accountable for paying your rent and keeping that on time. And I think that would teach Marines and or military members, you know, their fiscal responsibility, so that when they do get to a point in their career, they get a wife, they have a baby, and they need a place to live. They know how to take care of a place, they know how to pay the landlord, they know how to budget their money for rent, budget their money for food, all those kinds of things. I think that would be the biggest thing the military could change and would have a huge impact on military members.
What is your rank, name, and what do you do outside of the Marine Corps?
So I'm First Lieutenant Conrad Wonser, and I work in sales outside of the Marine Corps.
And why did you join the Marine Corps?
The Marine Corps was the right fit for me.
Who should join the Marine Corps?
I think anyone who really wants to test themselves should definitely join the Marine Corps.
Were you prior enlisted, sir?
No, I wasn't, but I wish I was.
So for anybody who is going straight into the officer side, what advice do you have for them, sir?
I would say stay humble, own that you know nothing, and soak up as much as you can.
What's your biggest piece of advice for someone who's about to go to OCS?
My biggest advice advice is prep work. You should have already done your homework. You should know exactly what you're going through. There's so many resources out there. For myself, I used YouTube. I talked to candidates and officers who had already gone.
What was the most physically challenging thing that you did during OCS?
My class was a winter class in 21, so I went from January to March, and it was a cold winter. Some of the toughest stuff I did at OCS, just due to the weather, it was like a mock combat course where we did a dry run during the day, but at night is when they like upped all the stress factors. So at night, they set off flares, they set off simulated artillery rounds, and every time that happened, you had to stay still.
And what was your best PFT?
Best PFT was a 299, and I'm very upset even to this day it wasn't 300.
So what is that in terms of pull-up, plank, and run?
I maxed pull-ups and plank, and I missed the run by 3 seconds to max that out. So that was upsetting.
So you ran an 18:03.
I ran an 18:03.
Do you have any advice for anybody who wants to join the Marine Corps, either side, and they want to improve their pull-ups, their plank, and their run time?
What a lot of Marines do for their plank, they think they can I don't have to train for it, I'm just gonna wing it. You can do that, but I highly recommend just do a lot of planks at home. You don't have to make it a crazy workout. Strategy for working out for both pull-ups and plank is, I do it every day, but I prolong the sets. So I do huge intervals of time. For pull-ups, what helped me out was the Armstrong program. You can just Google it, YouTube it. It's great for anyone just starting out.
And then what about the run? I think the run is probably the most challenging part.
Oh my gosh. I think the first hurdle you need to get over is consistency. Everyone can go one day, sprint their heart out, and then skip 3 in a row, and then when they decide they feel good again, go back at it. Stay consistent and stay to a regiment.
So why did you want to join the reserves instead of active duty?
I was an active duty contract. I suffered an injury there. At the end of it, still graduated and was sent home. And after talking to my OSO at the time, she had recommended, well, why not do reserves then? Like maybe we can figure something out. I did my own research, decided that actually would be really good. I still want to be a Marine. I still want to lead Marines. Let's do it that way.
What skills do you think you've learned so far in the Marine Corps that you've used out there in the civilian world, maybe in sales or any other job that you've had?
To me, mindset, I guess, I don't know if that's a great skill or not, but being in the Marine Corps, being mentally resilient and understanding that if I can be as objective as possible in a stressful situation, it will allow me to make the best decision and take care of Marines or anyone under me.
For any Marines who have not been to Okinawa, how would you describe it?
I say it's the Japanese equivalent to Hawaii. It's a tropical island, hundreds of miles away from any big body, and to me it's beautiful. It's an awesome place.
What makes the Marine Corps the best branch?
There's many things. One of the main factors that really puts us ahead of the other branches is, I'll say, legacy. As Marines, we've been everywhere, and we hold our culture and our tradition very close to our hearts, and we do a really good job of remembering that.
Who would you recommend to join reserves versus active duty?
The perfect ideal candidate for active side would be someone either coming out of high school or coming out of college who really wants to develop themselves. On the off chance, let's say you want flexibility, the reserves is perfect.
What advice would you give to a Marine officer in the reserves who's going to their first drill?
Soak up all the knowledge, not just of your job or the fleet, but in the reserves, opportunities and like weird situations happen all the time. You should be talking to your career planner, your NCOs. You should be checking all the websites that allow us to deploy and activate on ADOS orders. Go develop yourself. Don't be afraid to take opportunities as they come.
All right, guys, these Marines gave out some really good advice. And if you're a Marine or a veteran and you have some advice for the audience, feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like so that future Marines can learn from this, and subscribe for more videos like this.